All right, we're at Northern Arizona University, and what's your name?
My name's Ethan Liu.
Ethan, and what year are you in?
I'm a junior here at Northern Arizona.
Okay, cool. And tell us, why did you decide to host the river? That's pretty cool. What's that thing?
Oh, so it's one of those Starship robots, and basically students can order from their phones and have delivered to their dorms or anywhere on campus.
And what prevents anybody from just picking it up and stealing it?
It's a very heavy, and there's actually students control it, and there's a camera right there, so yeah, it's pretty heavy. So
I bet you could not do that in New York City.
no, you can. And also,
Someone would come in with a bunch of masks and just steal it.
the thing is, you can't open it without your phone code, so it's pretty much
Yeah, but that assumes they would want to open it as opposed to destroy it. In Portland, they have these. You can ask Travis over there. They have these scooters,
yeah.
and everybody just takes them, and well, not everybody. People take them and they throw them in the water. They destroy them. They. This is the kind of country we have today. Okay. Anyway, what do you personally want to get out of tonight?
I personally want to hear people's story about social justice ideology in the classroom. For me personally, I have not really experienced too much, given that of the classes I've been taking, the teachers that I have, I've not really been exposed to the idea. But I know there's a lot of people who are more political poli-sci majors who have experience, and I want to hear everyone's opinions about it.
Have you felt you've been free to say what you want in the class or voice an opinion that doesn't accord with the dominant orthodoxy?
Yeah, definitely. I feel any of the classes I've been taking where the teachers I had are really respectful and allow open dialogue conversations about anything. There really hasn't been no restrictions, but I can't say the same for some other people on campus, and that's a great way for them to share their experiences, or for people who want to defend social justice ideology or don't feel like the need of woke culture is playing in their education. It's a great way for them to share their side, because it's not a one-sided story. It's not black and white. It's pretty gray around this issue.
Well, cool. I think we're good to go.
Yeah.
I'm excited about tonight, man.
I'm very excited too, and I hope there's a good turnout, and I hope there's a lot of great conversations, and I can't wait to hear them all.
Well, great. Well, thanks. All right. Cool.
Thank you.
What brought you to this event tonight?
I wanted to share my thoughts on social justice in the classroom and specifically multiculturalism and the importance of that, and advocating for those ideas in the classroom is really important for helping students, succeed from a very diverse range of backgrounds. I just wanted to talk about that and my experiences learning about it in my classrooms.
I'm expecting people to maybe be a little bit shy to come up at first and state their views, but at the end of the day, I think people are going to feel free to come up and state their views on, things like equity and topics like that in the education system. And I expect Peter to ask very good questions that make people think about their answers.
Hopefully a good discussion between the student community and Peter. That'd be great. I want to just talk to people too about what they're thinking about just current social justice problems that they see around campus.
Makes sense to me.
I'm expecting to see some different views, maybe see the same views that I share, see how people feel about free speech and social justice on campus, and their thoughts basically from the classroom.
I don't have any expectations, honestly.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what a reverse Q&A is. Never heard of that in my life.
Yeah. It's a different concept. Do you feel that you can express your opinions about controversial subjects in the classroom?
Most of the time, no. It is difficult. I am a history major, so a lot of the time, in my history classes, it's pretty straightforward. We just learn history, but in political science, it's kind of difficult.
It kind of depends on the class. There's certain teachers I have where I definitely feel more comfortable because they're more, I guess, they don't state their view per se. They just let us state our views and they let us discuss, and I prefer that. Versus I do have a teacher or two who shall outright state, that either all white people are racist or privileged, things like that are technically controversial. And it's in those classes I feel less inclined to, state my opinion, because at that point you're arguing against the teacher as opposed to other students in discussion mindset.
Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Not safely. That's really all I can say about it. It's just not safe. But being in America, we are allowed to, but it doesn't come with pushback. And a lot of it, I've definitely experienced that before, where you just get bombarded by a ton of people, and it changes a lot of relationships and stuff, where people just title you as something, and then that's all you are from that point on.
Yeah, it's difficult. We can't talk about these things. Yeah.
Exactly.
Good evening, folks. Thank you for coming for the reverse Q&A. My name is Ethan Liu, and I'm the president here at Turning Point USA here at NAU. I would like to thank everyone for coming out to this event and supporting Turning Point USA throughout the school year. From our debate tonight to the reverse Q&A, none of this would have been possible without your support. Social justice ideology in education has been a very controversial subject in the past couple of years. Some people support it while others oppose it. We want to hear everyone's opinion and experience. So without further ado, here's Peter Boghossian.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Ethan and Turning Point USA. It's a pleasure to be here. So tonight we're gonna try something different. This is a reverse Q&A. So instead of me, who's a professor, standing up and having students ask questions, the students are going to go on stage and then I'm going to ask them questions. There should be limits to free speech on a college campus. Think about that for a second. If you have an opinion about this and you want to come and give your opinion and I'll ask you questions about it, if you agree, come here. If you disagree, come here. There should be limits to free speech on a college campus. Okay, so I'm going to give it to you first, and then we'll pass it to you. That was just arbitrary. You happen to be closest to me.
Sounds good.
I didn't have any big plan.
Yeah.
Could you comment on that, please? Give us your opinion.
I would love to do that. Yeah.
Thank you.
So obviously this is not sound like a great position to take. There should be limits to free speech. I consider myself actually very freedom oriented. I really want to be able to maximize the freedom that everybody's able to have, to be able to express themselves and be able to live their lives without any boundaries. And I feel like there's kind of a problem we run into a lot that, has the name, the paradox of intolerance, paradox of tolerance, where if you're tolerant of all ideas, you're not actually being tolerant of all ideas, because if you're tolerant of ideas that silence other people or put other people down or don't let them express themselves, you are limiting the freedom of those people, So the only way to actually achieve some kind of real free speech, some kind of real freedom of expression, is to make a world where everyone is safe to be who they want to be. So that's why I said agree for this.
Okay. If somebody offers the argument that trans women should not, in other words, people born men who self-identify as women, should not be allowed, for example, in a swimming competition or an MMA competition like Fallon Fox, you think having that conversation is okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think people should be allowed to talk about it.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to come back with a tricky question, something that I have struggled with myself, but your answers were terrific. Can you pass the mic?
Oh, I definitely disagree.
Okay.
But it's simply, we'd be no better than China. you know?
Is your concern that we will be held hostage to vocal minorities who are claiming things, or is that your concern?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay. It makes no sense to criticize someone on the basis of something they can't change. The whole idea of criticizing something is that it's changeable.
Exactly.
So here's my question to you. Where does weight fall into that category? One's weight.
I don't think you should be able to fat shame people. No, I don't think that.
But that's a changeable characteristic. In fact, people lose weight all the time.
I see what you mean, yeah. Well, I would say that that is a difficult question because it is a changeable characteristic. You're right. I would say that most, evidence is found that people aren't going to lose weight because people make fun of them for being fat, being shamed into it. They already have that feeling because everything they see in society, every person represented in media does not look like them. They know they don't fit in,
Sometimes I can't say what I think in class. So we're going to start with this one and we can expand this. Sometimes, okay, come on up. I was going to give everybody a minute to meditate on that. But if you have something. So sometimes I can't say what I think in class. Does anybody want to sit on that side?
I personally am a conservative libertarian, so it is sometimes difficult to voice my opinions in class. People hear libertarian and kind of are turned off, or conservative and kind of just glare at you a little bit.
I just say whatever I want. Wherever to whoever.
So there is a truth in that, I think, a fundamental truth in that the Greeks call it parrhesia, speaking truth in the face of danger. That people may not agree with you, but they respect people who are honest and sincere and open. Mm-hmm. And do you feel that, like, when you've said something that others will disagree with, that's been the case. They might not agree with you, but they've respected you for voicing that opinion, or no?
It depends who they are. You know, I mean, some people are like single voter or single issue voters. So if you disagree with one thing, they like completely disregard who you are.
I'm guessing, is this right, that your friendships are deeper now precisely because you've been more honest, because people know who you are because they know what you believe, and you know other people because of so nobody's pretending anything?
Oh yeah, I would say so. Every now and then some fake stuff happens, but it's not based on your political beliefs. It's like not getting invited somewhere or something stupid like that.
Equity should be among the highest priorities, let's say top 3, of an educational institution. What do you think?
I don't think it should. I mean, moving the goalpost depending on your characteristics, I think is, the opposite of that. You know.
Can you define that for us, please? Equity.
Equity. I think it's changing the the goalposts of success depending on race, gender, other characteristics.
Right. So, can you give an example of equity?
For sure. So I'm not super well versed in this, so I apologize. I know over East there's some colleges that have lower requirements for maybe Black students and maybe higher requirements for Asian students.
Correct. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, I'm sorry. If we want a competitive, we want a competitive marketplace, work hard for it. Don't move the goalposts.
You know, there's such a push to be partisan. There's such a push to be tribal and not cross lines. There's such a push to have your virtue signaling and liberal credentials. But you know what? Every once in a while, someone on the other across the aisle happens to be really right about something.
Yeah. But I think it's an issue of, at least the media itself, it tends to train you that if you're not of this exact idea, if anyone isn't, they're evil and bad and you can't change their mind.
Right. So that's the thing. That's really important what he just said. Mm-hmm. It's not that they're wrong. It's that they're evil and bad.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Yeah, why listen to their opinion if they're evil? Then you don't have to defend it.
That's the problem. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That we've switched it from a problem of epistemology or how you know to a problem of morality, and this is a bad person because he holds that opinion, as opposed to, this person is actually operating under assumptions that are just false.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree with this question. I don't think equity should be among the highest, priorities for educational institutions, because I think we should start at the base level. I don't think we should be trying to fix the problem afterwards with the Band-Aid. I think we should be trying to solve the problems that lead people to need the help. So I think, investment in these lower income neighborhoods, investment in all these areas that have no educational opportunities. You say people just need to work harder and we just need to provide this base level for everyone and then we'll be okay. And I understand that thinking. But when you have one community which has, 300 years of poverty and has not had any opportunity to build generational wealth, and when the schools are funded based off of property taxes in the area, those people have absolutely no way to get to the same level as people with, better. If you have way more when you start off, it's not a fair fight.
Let's drill down a sec, because I think what you said is really important, and I think the word fair is a tough word it's a tough word. John Rawls, philosopher, talks about justice is fairness. I agree. I have never understood why the schools are funded by taxpayer money in the neighborhood. I've never understood that. That seems so un-American to me.
Uh-huh. I agree. Yeah. And I definitely understand the idea that, fairness could really just be propping up one set of people, but I think we have to understand that, we're not trying to get equality of outcome. I don't think that's what people should be fighting for. It should be equality of opportunity.
Okay,
everyone
so can
should
you
have
pause
that
on that?
Uh-huh.
That's the definition.
Thank you.
That's the definition, but I didn't want to say it. I wanted someone else to say it. But I think our general agreement is we need to be fair. We need to treat people equally. And if we want a more just society, then the North Star in that has to be what's true and what works, and discriminating against people on the basis of their race. Like the value of equality, I think we could talk about this, but I personally believe it's rationally derivable. And I think we have to have an honest conversation about what equity is, what it's not, what equality is, what it's not, and how to move forward as a society.
Yeah, I don't think you have to put others down to bring others up. I think if we start on that family level, then we don't have to be denying other people educational opportunities.
Not only that, how do we solve these problems? How do we start talking to each other again? How do we make it so that if somebody voices an opinion, maybe they're just wrong? right? Or maybe they're right and we're wrong instead of that person is an evil person. So we got to get rid of cancel culture. Any ideas how we do that, by the way?
We got to take the Democrats out of office.
Okay, well, that's all right. Well, that's one opinion. Oh yeah, come on down.
I think just basic kindness, and it's okay that we accept people for having differences. It doesn't mean that we have to agree with behaviors or agree with what their choices are, but we can be polite and respect it without publicly shaming people.
Kindness is in such short supply now. How do we promote that as a value?
I think it can start at home, and if it's not in the home, it can start in the schools. I mean, there's big influences. When you send your kids off to kindergarten, they're 8 hours a day in a school, if it's not coming from the home.
You mentioned, fairness before, and to me, that goes along with being rational and objective. You can't really be rational and objective unless you have a set of standards and norms from which you're operating. So the ability to try to engage people, even though you might be emotionally very opposed to what they're saying because it seems radical to you in some way, I think that's a discipline that's worth cultivating.
I think that we should stop demonizing people for having certain political beliefs, because I think that really kind of makes it hard to have conversations like these, and just in general. I don't really think the first thing about your identity should be what party you're in or what your political beliefs are. I think that should be a part of it, but it doesn't have to be you have different political beliefs than me, I can't be friends with you then.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming. Ethan is going to give a final word, and I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate the folks that came out and spoke. I really appreciate that.
What did you think about the event tonight?
I thought it was amazing. I mean, I think TPUSA is doing great stuff, especially bringing speakers in like this, and it was a really unique event yeah.
Was there anything that surprised you at all about what happened tonight?
I don't want to drag you into this, but you surprised me for coming into the event and giving out different opinions. You, compared to, don't take this as like offense or anything, but compared to other people, you're definitely, you've had your words put together a lot better than even I could.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
So even with different opinions, you're able to put thoughts together and put them into words.
Thank
so
you.
I deeply appreciate that. I definitely got a different perspective.
So what did you think of the event tonight?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was cool hearing different people's perspectives, you know? I thought I liked the format of it. I guess the one thing I wasn't a huge fan of was that there seemed to be not much of a focus on the actual beliefs being held, more about whether or not we're able to talk about the beliefs, you know? There was a lot of focus on, is my free speech allowed in this situation, you know? Am I being silenced? Are my friends silencing me? But there wasn't a whole lot of conversation about other people's ideas and differing opinions on the actual values that are being judged, you know? Not a lot of focus on talking about the different people's in the crowd perspectives on the actual issues that we are talking about the effects of in terms of censorship and free speech, you know?
You see things any differently, or do you see things the same?
No. If anything, it affirmed my beliefs, you know? Made me feel like, okay, yeah, there's just even more people, have a good one, who agree, you know, think the same way.
Yeah.
It could also, maybe there's a little gap bridged with one of the speakers. Kind of surprising that some of it, one of the views was more in line with what I think, the whole equity question.